You've tuned into Stranger Than Fiction News, broadcasting live from the dark side of the planet. The superpowers are blaming each other over whose bioweapon is this. It's no longer a question if this is a bioweapon, if this is a weaponized virus. The question is, whose is it? Who did it? Who released it? Who let it into the country? Well, we know who let it into the country. We know who let it into the New World Order countries. We know whose presidents are now wartime presidents, and one after the other, giving themselves emergency powers, invoking emergency declarations. All of the New World Order presidents have just become dictators overnight. And why? Because they let this virus in. And as much as we want to blame the Chinese, and I don't think they're guiltless for not bringing this to the world's attention, but you really have to think about who let this in, who let the situation get, who let this situation get this bad. And you just have to look at the people on the TV. All of them. The news anchors, the administrations, the bureaucrats, the ministers, they're all responsible. None of them were trying to make this situation any better. Instead, they've just made it worse and worse and worse. Through their quote-unquote negligence, they've turned this situation into a catastrophe. And of course, their solutions will be even more catastrophic. Ladies and gentlemen, millions will die, if not billions, worldwide. Brought to you by this New World Order, Agenda 21, Georgia Guidestones, brought to you by the people who, brought you the fluoride, the vaccines, the death towers, the endless wars. That's who's responsible for this. That same old 322 Skull and Bones crew that we keep hearing about. And, humanity has, welcomed this in. To be quite honest, they didn't do what was necessary to take out the trash. And so now this virus has emerged. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to the demonic New World Order, this Luciferian occult army of the devil that's plotting your demise. What else can you say? We'll have plenty to say. We want to interact with the audience out there. We're going to spend some time answering your questions. So prepare some questions. I'm sure you have questions. You have statements. You have theories. We want to address it all. We want to spend some time focusing on your concerns. And I hope you're prepared. We spent 2 months, a lot of time trying to get people to prepare. And it's not an easy sell, especially when you have the politicians and the news media calling it a hoax and just the flu. Remember that for months and months? Now they want to, spin themselves as the heroes as they're barreling towards World War III. So, bring out your questions. Bring out your dead. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what they used to say in the last plague. Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead. The garbage trucks are going to be driving by. Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead. We've actually seen videos of that. We got a lot of videos, a lot of news to cover. But we saw videos of that, people that were locked in their homes in Italy with dead people inside, and they're like, please come get the dead people. You know what I mean? You saw the videos, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get to your questions, we're going to spend a little time. Whoa. What happened to the video guy? The video guy has been hacked by the Matrix, it seems like. In any case, before we get to your questions, we feel that it's important to put things into perspective. And so we're going to spend a couple of minutes on perspective. What's going on out there? Does it make sense? Is there any logic to what we're seeing, ladies and gentlemen? And to get this right, we're going to spend a little time in Matthew chapter 10. How many people know Matthew chapter 10? Well, you will now. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Now the names of the 12 apostles are these: the first Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the publican, James the son of Alphaeus, and Lebbaeus, whose surname was Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. These 12 Jesus sent forth, and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give. Provide neither gold, nor silver, nor brass in your purses, nor scrip for your journey, neither 2 coats, neither shoes, nor yet staves, for the workman is worthy of his meat. And into whatsoever city or town ye shall enter, inquire who in it is worthy, and there abide till ye go thence. And when ye come into an house, salute it. And if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it be not worthy, let your peace return to you. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when ye depart out of that house or city, shake off the dust of your feet. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that endureth to the end shall be saved. But when they persecute you in this city, flee ye to another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple to be as his master, and the servant as his Lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? Fear not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light. And what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing? And one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear ye not, therefore, ye are more valuable than many sparrows. Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. He that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward, and he that receiveth a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whosoever shall give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of cold water only in the name of a disciple, verily I say unto you, he shall in no wise lose his reward. This is a very important chapter in the Bible. They all are. But this one, I think, speaks to a lot of people, especially in this day and age. And you've probably noticed for yourselves that people around you can't wake up. They don't want to wake up because they've sold their souls to the devil. It's not about what we're talking about. That's the problem. The problem is the truth. Whatever the truth is the opposite of where they want to be. And it's a logic that, unfortunately, is very difficult to do anything with, ladies and gentlemen. We could spend a lot of time on Matthew 10. But as you can see here, every hair on your head is numbered. Everything that's happening in the world right now is part of the plan. It's been authorized. And if you look at, world history, we've had these types of events before. Ladies and gentlemen. Why is this happening? Why do plagues happen? Why? Oh, why, ladies and gentlemen? Why do bad things happen to otherwise good people out there? Looks like we're in the chat here, ladies and gentlemen, live. We're hacking the Matrix live. How's everybody doing out there? I see quite a few people, and I certainly want to address any questions, concerns. And I think a lot of people are, kind of losing their minds out there right now. The world that we grew up in is crumbling before our very eyes. And yet it is not unexpected. It is certainly not a surprise. How many people are surprised out there that Sodom and Gomorrah is being smited? Did you know the extent of how bad the situation was out there? It was like a total lost crop of people who have all pretty much sold their souls to the devil. And it was worse than you could possibly imagine. This was way overdue. But it is difficult watching it happen. It's difficult seeing the numbers. We're going to get back into the news. I think that in any case, given what's at stake, the entire future of humanity, you could see where this story was going. They wanted to assimilate humankind and merge it with the machine and destroy everything that was natural, destroy creation. I mean, this is a war against evil. It's a war against the demonic. Nobody asked, we certainly didn't ask for this. We were all born into this matrix, if you will, into this constructed reality. But we have to play our part. And if we're going to play, then we might as well win. We should be in it to win it. And I think the days of sacrifice, the days of, the crucifixion, those days were 2,000 years ago. People have had 2,000 years to think about that. I think the days where we just jump off the cliff are over. Now, I think that's going to be a very interesting debate. Can you ask, can you pray to win this war? If you look at the book of Revelation, it ends quite badly for the dark side. It's going to end up that way anyways. These people are going to hell anyways. Let the dead bury the dead. Let's save who we can out there. And the only ones that are going to get saved are the ones that are walking on the right path. And that's all you can say. You can't help the stupid people out there as much as you want to. They're crazy. They're not in control of themselves, let alone, the situation around them. Instead, they're like free radicals just trying to burn everything down. There's nothing you can do for these people. As difficult as it is to watch them, jump off the building or light themselves on fire or whatever they do, there's nothing that you can do. They're victims of the system, but there's just no way to change them. There's nothing you could say. You can't hack their programming. These people are never going to change. And I think that this has been, a tried and tested conclusion. It happens. It can happen. But you've seen for yourselves, most of the people out there are, of the dark side. You can tell. They're witchy. There's something wrong with them. It's not your imagination. It's certainly not you, the believer out there. The problem isn't you. The problem is this secular world, this beast system. And as much as, you don't want to be mean. Oh, remember the good old days here? Remember the good old days? When this was a hoax, when this was a flu. But as much as we want to help these people, there's nothing that we can do. And I think we should continue to pray that they find their way. That somehow, they are converted. But look, ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is out there. Judgment Day has come, and it's getting scary. The numbers are, starting to accelerate. And, whatever's coming is going to be, very gruesome indeed. The only thing people can really do is protect themselves and survive as long as you can. Do as much damage as you can out there for the good guys. And it's quite clear, who the bad guys are. And I don't try, I'm not trying to be cute, and, it really isn't a Christian's, place to question secular authority in the sense that, render to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. And, if you look at, the letters of the apostles, it spends quite a bit of time on not upsetting the, secular authorities. The persecution was bad enough. They were like, don't make it any worse. But these are different times. We're not just talking about Roman Colosseums and the like. We're talking about, super AI and the Matrix and Terminators and, nanobots and, endless technological nightmares like this virus. And so, if humanity is going to survive, this is the time, as ironic as that might seem. And so, as this beast system is imploding, as, the markets crash and industry tanks and, people are going back to the tent cities and it starts looking like the Great Depression and the plague out there, as these mega cities, basically become deserts, as, the things of the past become a distant memory, a door will open, an opportunity will be there to take this country back and to set it on a better path. We weren't on the right path. We were on the wrong path. And we've got tons of stories. We've done tons of stories that demonstrate that. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, where's the music guy? You guys are tired of just... All right, here comes the apocalyptic music. I'm going to hypnotize you. I'm going to bring you back into the trance. How's everybody doing out there? Do we have any questions? Do we have questions from the audience? Is there anything that you want to know? How much toilet paper should you have? How many rolls do you use a day? Ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, we got some cute people out there. Trying to talk about the video guy, and we've got some really, other interesting people out there. And look, sometimes when I look at the comments, I'm like, yeah, these guys are gonna make it. And then I look at some other comments and I'm like, oh yeah, that one not gonna make it. But you never know who's in the book of life. Much love to everybody out there. I hope you're prepared. you're never going to be fully prepared. We recommend that you continue to maintain your stocks. As difficult as it is, find the best time of day where not a whole lot of people are going to be there, and try to go in, get some essentials, and maintain the fridge, if you will. We're going to please don't judge me by my comments. Yeah, don't judge me by anything out there. There is a chapter in the Bible for that, wouldn't you know? And there's quite a few of them, actually. Hold on. We'll go with this one, if we can. And then we'll get into the news. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. How well do you know your Bible? I mean, you'd be, so smart out there if you knew the Bible by heart. And, there's a direct correlation between, wisdom and knowing the Bible. And you look at the sheeple out there, and it's like, they're empty souls, empty shells, and they speak nothing but lies, nothing but fluff, things that don't even matter. And you can tell them by their fruits. But know your Bible by heart if you want to make it out there. The most woke people you'll ever meet are people of faith. And, it takes time. It's why you're supposed to start young. And, converting an adult is like, pulling an adult out of the matrix. They just can't handle it for the most part. It's why it hardly ever happens. Many are called, but few are chosen, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into the news, shall we? Shall we do some of the news? Okay, so breaking news. Superpowers blame each other for this bioweapon. It's not a question of if this is a bioweapon. It's a question of whose bioweapon is it. Somebody's going to get nuked. I mean, when hundreds of millions of people are dead, if not more, I mean, a fine just isn't going to cut it. They can give you $2,000. They can give you $5,000. They've just destroyed the whole planet and everything that you've ever loved out there. $2,000 doesn't seem to cut it. And, there's just some things that money can't buy, like normal. You can't buy normal. In fact, you don't see a whole lot of it anymore. I mean, it's so rare. I hardly meet normal people anymore. They're all witchy, they're all in this like delusional kind of mental state, practicing their Harry Potter, kind of thing, and they're all just trying to be more wicked than the other. And now they're all, starting to snap. And you're going to see a lot of them go crazy. And, we're learning that this virus is a little bit like rabies as well. So it's kind of like the zombie apocalypse. You'll see it, wait for it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, what do we got here? Again, the American media becomes a vector of Chinese propaganda. We called the 1918 epidemic the Spanish flu. Now we have the China flu. And the media is reporting that Donald Trump triples down on calling coronavirus the Chinese virus. Is that like a triple dog dare? Is that like a Christmas story? I triple dog dare you to put your tongue on the flagpole. That's what it looks like to me. We got a triple dog dare from Donald Trump to launch nukes. And perhaps this is what got us here. I think there's going to be a lot of scenarios that people want to entertain as far as who released the virus. We'll certainly entertain them all, but imagine it was the Chinese that released this weapon and used their city to incubate it in a kind of kamikaze attack to infect the entire world and make it look like an accident. That's a very plausible scenario. And Why would they do that? Well, with all of these, tariff wars and the like, I mean, why not a little Cold War action to reciprocate? So, now that they've bio-nuked the world, what's the world going to do is the question, ladies and gentlemen. Coronavirus shoppers are left staring blankly at the supermarket shelves. Don't know what to get anymore. Hey, did you ever do that while you were prepping? Were you ever thinking to yourself, what do I get? What do I get? I don't want to get anything, I mean, there were days like that, and we were telling people, force yourselves. Force yourself to buy shit. Whatever it could be, just force yourselves. You're going to need it. And, we've been getting a lot of feedback from people. Obviously, they're happy that they were given an opportunity to prepare. And I think everybody out there deserved that opportunity. And do you think that this administration, the government, or the media tried to help you prepare? No. They weren't there for you when you needed them. But they're there for you now when they want to, lock you down and send the Gestapo door to door. They're here for you now, bitches. You know what I mean? So, pay attention to these videos. This is your future. Guaranteed. And every day it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, and like on every metric. The mainstream news finally publishes a report. Air pollution increases coronavirus vulnerability. No kidding. We'd hate to say I told you so again. I mean, it could be old. I could be doing this all day. But, we were saying, air quality is very important. Get fresh air. Don't be breathing in the volatile organic compounds. People that are breathing in the urban air, they're going to get it the worst. This is why we saw it explode in northern Italy and the eastern part of France along the Alps, because, that's where the pollution is the worst, in Europe. And no surprise, So, there you go. Get some air filters. Make sure your air quality is 100% all the time. We got copies of what the French are passing as new laws, and just full emergency powers, able to do everything and stop everyone, full Wuhan, essentially. And 2 or 3 weeks ago, or even 2 months ago, when we were talking about this, it probably seemed like highly, improbable. No way would they do, that over here. And here we go. Do they really have a choice? I mean, from a scientific point of view, if anyone's going to survive, they've got to bring down the community virus load. So they're going to have to force, social distancing. And our worlds are going to become radically different. It's going to be like, Ready Player One, VR, full-time, baby stepping you towards the Matrix. And of course, you're going to have to get your chip or your, electronic tattoo to prove that you're negative, if you will. So a lot of things coming. Trump calls himself a wartime president. I think it was 3 days ago, we were like, all the world leaders are calling themselves wartime presidents. And here it is. Now he's a wartime president. Everybody's a dictator now with special powers. It's better than 9/11. And in Italy, I mean, it's now 9/11. They've got like 3,000 dead. Multi-year World War III is humanity versus the disease, and it'll probably go further than that. So in Italy, they confirmed 4,200 new cases today, which is pretty huge in one day. 475 deaths in one day. In total, there are 35,700 cases in Italy, officially, and 3,000 dead. Again, the numbers are all going up according to a script. The infections began to roll out beginning mid-January. By mid-February, virtually everybody was infected. And what we're learning is that it takes 2 or 3 months and the right conditions for this virus to go terminal in people. And it's basically like, a time bomb. That's what this is. And by the time, the first cases make it to the hospital, everybody's been infected. But the numbers are staggering. And it's because they can't hide them anymore. The numbers are now so large that there's no stopping, this train. And they're going to send everybody home to starve or to die, one way or the other. They're going to bury everybody alive. And that's why it's important to prepare and to have some kind of nutraceuticals. Now, we've been, following the scientific news on treatments and the like. We've listed what's on the radar right now in the video description, and we could certainly talk about that. But chloroquine keeps coming up over and over again. It seems like a very cheap, on-the-shelf solution that works. It's not without side effects, but it's, a 50-year-old drug that's still on the shelf. So it's well-tested, well-known, and it seems to work quite well. Of course, the mainstream media is going to try and make that disappear because they want to be able to monopolize some kind of new novel, exclusive, high-priced drug, $100 a day, like HIV kind of thing. And so chloroquine, be on the lookout. Everybody loves boxes. Everybody loves safes. What's in this one? Anybody got a little time for some comedy? Probably not. No. But I think everybody would love to have a safe like this. Imagine what somebody would keep in a safe like this. How about a bioweapon? Is that what you would keep in a safe like this? I mean, this is old school, way old school. Look at that. What's in there? A nuclear reactor? Plutonium? What is it? Oh shit. Pardon the language. It's toilet paper. Did you see that? That was, that's what people are doing right now. Obviously, the quarantine, is tough. It's hard to handle. A lot of people are going to snap, Let's see. Here's one of the drugs that is showing promise. It's called favipiravir, sold under the brand name Avigin. It's a Japanese flu drug effective against the virus. So they say, time will tell. Hong Kong uses electronic wristbands to enforce coronavirus quarantine. And they're forcing you to download an app. And that reminds us, we saw some really scary blurbs in news reports. I think it was out of Bloomberg. But they say in Milan, 43% of citizens continue to move about according to phone tracking data. So now they're going to use the phones to find out, if you're sick, if you're leaving your house, all of that stuff. So they've already built the geofence, with the 4G and the 5G. And now you're going to be stuck in these, prison cities like, InfoWars, the early days, Prison Planet, and the like. Whatever happened to those guys is the question. They're still out there like, Trump is going to save you, Hello, McFly, And speaking of Back to the Future, I mean, it's Biff. It's Biff. That's what it is. Italy, 4,200 cases in one day. That's a lot, man. It's skyrocketing. And they're pleading with the whole world, lock it down. But, it's part of the script. Italy was, the place where they were going to roll out the first lockdowns in the Western world. We talked about that. We had insider information, and it's all, proven accurate to date. Around 2 million dead by the beginning of the summer. Full lockdown. There's the Project Zypher stuff as well. I mean, this is so New World Order, 9/11 all over again. And I think people need to realize that. And now it's gone way beyond 5G, way beyond fluoride, way beyond vaccines, way beyond chemtrails. They've bio-nuked the world. And they're going to kill like tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people. It's like Hitler, literally. And what are the sheeple going to do? Well, they're going to party like rock stars. Millennials, however, may be at a higher risk for catching the virus due to their risky behavior. And we're learning that younger people are, in fact, getting whacked by this super virus. And had they told people that at the beginning, that 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds were getting whacked, and it wasn't just the 80-year-olds in hospice, people might have cared. But they did everything to misrepresent the dangers, to give people a false sense of security, to bring down people's shields and the like. There was a time when the case numbers were going down in China before the big peak of 15,000 in one day, and people were like, oh, it's over, look, we dodged the bullet. Oh no. Here you're looking at video of them liquidating buildings. It's going to be so much worse in the big cities. If you're not in a big city, if you're like, in a house out in the country, oh, you should be so happy, so thankful. Don't you dare, break down in despair. Like, what am I going to do? You can at least plant a garden. You can at least, breathe fresh air. These people in the big cities are just going to get liquidated hardcore. And so, ride this storm out. And then, the goon squads, I think, will kind of figure it out eventually that they've just been turned into, the Gestapo. Tips to make food last longer. Check that one out if you're a survivalist. More evidence, More evidence that when we come out of this China virus, the economy is going to be like nothing anyone has ever seen before. All the Detroit automakers have shut down their factories, GM, Ford, Chrysler, and the like. That's big news. They're saying that it'll be 20% unemployment here real soon. And in fact, they're saying, right now, 1 in 5 people have been affected already. California governor doesn't think that schools will ever open again. Quite literally. Quite possibly. At least not for this school year. But, what we're learning is that it's a perpetual virus. And, it's going to be there all the time, forever, applying pressure to humanity until, they develop this, geo-tracking system to contain you. The federal government is sending a hospital ship. The Diamond Princess? No. The USNS Comfort. So they're going to be probably just like bringing in, this is actually really, this is actually pretty slick because there's a lot of these hospital boats and they'll just like dock up. They'll bring, they'll say like, yeah, give us 1,000 people. They'll go out into the middle of the Atlantic and just dump the load, come back, pick up another 1,000. What happened to the last people? Oh, they've recovered. Boom, bitches. Huh? You can't imagine what it's like doing these shows, but it must be pretty spectacular listening to it. China's top expert says herd immunity will not curb the pandemic because the disease is highly infectious and lethal. So, there you go. Herd immunity, non-existent. Immunity, probably non-existent. Short term, maybe. But a lot of it really depends on your environment. And I think the only way people are going to survive is by living a very sterile, isolated life with lots of drugs. This is not Wuhan. This is not China. This is actually the suburbs of Paris. And same scenes. It won't be long before they're quarantining entire buildings, locking everything down. The exact same thing. Exact same thing. I mean, if I put Wuhan here, you would believe that. If I put Paris here, you'd be like, yeah, whatever. It's Paris, man. What else we got? Paris. This dude's like spitting on the cops and he just got bitch slapped. And of course the libtards are like, oh, why did the cops, bitch slap this, Antifa? And it's like, dude, they're zombies. This is why the virus is here. So you just got to keep these people away from you and, let them enjoy their trip to hell free of charge. What else we got? Chloroquine. Numerous clinical tests are showing favorable results. Human guinea pigs, but it is an emergency situation. And if you had to try anything, chloroquine would probably be, on the top of everybody's list right now because it's been around for 50 years. Again, not without side effects. The side effects are pretty hardcore, but we'll just have to see if that's, a real or bogus story. Australia declares emergency, invokes new powers. They're at war with the virus they let in and explode within their society. I mean, they probably already got the vaccines. All these, New World Order puppets have been vaccinated for this virus. And they're like, yeah, no worries. Yeah. Just stay at home. Everything will be fine while they're living, in the palace. And it's just, it's perfect. Be prepared to shelter in place, according to the New York City mayor. Americans have little trust in the information they're receiving on television, period. Whether it be NBC or Fox News, it's the same shills. Today in U.S. Coronavirus cases, there's a lot, right? And this was 2 weeks ago. This is like last Friday. 2 weeks ago, last Friday. Look, with a virus like this, every day makes a difference. Every day. And they just pissed away like 45 days, 60 days, and did nothing, if not more. This was getting on the radar in December, and they did nothing. January, nothing. February, nothing. And, now it's, they're starting to react. But any case, it's just everywhere, they say. Delays in testing set back the U.S. coronavirus response. And what a setback it will be. 53-year-old resident of Kentucky checked himself out of a hospital against medical advice and refused to quarantine himself. So we see a lot of that. And essentially, the people that get infected get a form of rabies. And they're not in full control of themselves. And they're going to do a lot of crazy stuff on top of that. And, we've talked about the medical journal's description of this stealth encephalitis that works in very much the same way as rabies. So be prepared for that. It is going to be like a zombie apocalypse. That's why, you saw the footage that you saw in China. They weren't just fighting a regular virus that was killing people. They were fighting a zombie type apocalypse. And be prepared. That's all we can say. Prepare for the last stand. What else we got in the news? This quote is devastating. This is such a rapidly moving infection that losing a few days is bad and losing a couple of weeks is terrible. Losing 2 months is disastrous. It's suicide. That's what they did. They killed this country. And they can blame the Chinese, they can blame the Russians, but at the end of the day, the buck stops at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. They let this thing happen. And, while there might be many people to blame, let's not forget them. Correspondence, now that might not help. You want them to succeed, but they're never going to succeed. These people are a catastrophe. They should be relieved of duty, and somebody else should be in charge. Like me, I should be president for, a month. I think if Trump was actually, serious about saving America, he would use his newfound emergency powers and declare me the czar of, the coronavirus. And until they do that, it's just a suicide mission. So good luck out there. Correspondence published today. shows that the virus is airborne for several hours. We need a World War II style effort to make 200 million masks a day. Interesting little graphic there. Oh, check this out. Let's see if we can blow this up. NBC says, the Winter Party Festival, an annual LGBTP event in Miami, drew thousands from across the country when it kicked off earlier this month. In the weeks following the event, several attendees tested positive for the virus. And you know what's really bizarre here? And it just proves the point, rather well. You see all these dudes here? You see all these dudes? Look, they all got like the big pecs, and they're all like, working out. They look like jocks. They look like, what normal people used to look like 20 years ago. But they're all gay. 20 years ago, the gay people, you could tell they were gay. They were very feminine. And, they all had the lisp, and they all wanted to stand out. But here, it's like everybody's fucking gay. And not only that, you go to the bar and you think you're talking to a girl. Oh no, it's a tranny. They're out to get you. And it's just like, is no place safe? Is no place safe, ladies and gentlemen? Not anymore. Not anymore. And that's why, this virus has come. Seems like North Dakota has even been infected. And we're hearing that, Fargo, my hometown, looks like they're getting their first cases on the radar. Coronavirus doctor says lung scans of young patients were nothing short of terrifying. Lots of young people. U.S. soldier in virus quarantine. Prisoners get better care. Very disturbing story. U.S. government tech industry discussing ways to harness location data to combat coronavirus. So all of your worst nightmares are about to come true with this virus. And if you let them get away with it, you get exactly what you deserve. They've suspended civil rights, constitutional rights. You're now like a subject of their authority, more so than ever. And it won't be long before they're, shuttling you into some kind of FEMA camp, thanks to Facebook and the like. Superpowers blame each other, yes, for this virus being a bioweapon. So it's not if this virus is a bioweapon, it's whose bioweapon is it? Big difference. It's not just the flu. And that brings us back to yesterday's news. We'll have to leave it there for this broadcast. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And, keep your chin up out there. Humanity has faced more difficult times than this. As tough as that might sound right now, this probably isn't much compared to, the Black Death of the 1300s. Or any of the other, major plagues of the world, especially during medieval ages. If they could survive in the medieval ages with nothing compared to what we have today, then we can survive this. Will it be easy? Probably not. But again, if humans could survive the Black Death, then chances are we'll survive this. And right now we can't see the end of the tunnel. Right now, we don't know how long, this will last, how bad it'll be. But you have to, you got to keep the faith out there. And no matter what, we're going to make it. This is as bad as it gets for us. And it's only going to get worse for them. I sincerely believe that. And I hope you do too. That'll, change your entire perspective in life. Till the next time, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.